Today, we're going to learn how to set the starting positions of sprites, as well as learning how to use the broadcast messaging to allow movement of sprites, not just for the dialogue. To begin, in our module, we're going to go down to our Directions tab. We're going to download our template by clicking on the green link that says Let's Get Moving. I'm going to go up to the download button, the arrow pointing at the line. Once my download is complete, I'm going to exit out of that tab. And then I'm going to sign in to my CS First account. Now I'm going to create a new project by going over to the blue plus sign, selecting New Project. The first thing I need to do is name my project. We're going to name it Let's Get Moving, and then our first name. Then we're going to upload the template by going to File, Load from your computer, going to the Recent tab, and then selecting the Let's Get Moving. Click Open, and that will load us into our project. Now it's time to set the starting positions for our characters. When we click on the green flag, we want them to start on the edge of our stage and glide to meet in the middle. We're not adding any code to our butterfly right now. So first I'm going to start with Abby. I'm going to drag her to the corner of the stage. And now I'm going to grab 2XY and drag it underneath of the green flag and before the glide. Now I'm going to go over to Avery. I'm going to drag them to the corner of the stage as well. Then I'm going to grab my Go to XY block and drag that under the green flag. So now when I click on the green flag, they should meet in the middle every time. It's time to have our characters move over to the boulder to get a closer look at the butterfly. So I'm going to start with Avery. I'm going to go to my events block and I'm going to drag out the when I receive, and the message that I'm looking for is see a butterfly, because that's what we're broadcasting to say, let's get a closer look. So when Avery receives the message of see a butterfly, they're going to move over to the rock. I'm still going to leave enough room for Abby to go beside them. And then I'm going to go to my motion block and I'm going to drag out my glide 1 second to XY. Then I'm going to go to Abby and I'm going to go to my events block. When I receive the see a butterfly message, I'm going to have Abby go up and get closer to that boulder as well. I'm going to click on my motion block and do my glide 1 second. Here's what your project should look like. Now it's time to add some movement to the butterfly. Now it's time to develop the character's movements even further while still using the broadcast messaging blocks. So I want the butterfly to start flying away at the same time that the characters are walking over to see it. I think it would be funny if it flew around for a little bit, but then I want the butterfly to land on Avery's hand. So to make this happen, I'm going to make sure that I have selected my butterfly sprite. The first thing I need to do is I want to make sure that my butterfly always starts in the corner of the stage and it always stays this size, because what I'm going to do is have the butterfly shrink down so that it looks better when it gets on Avery's hand. So I'm going to go to my events block. I'm going to drag out my when green flag is clicked. Then I'm going to go to my looks block and I'm going to set the size to 100%. And then I'm going to go to my motion block and drag out my Go to XY so that my butterfly starts at the corner right there. Now what I want to do is have my butterfly start moving when my characters head over to see them at the boulder. So I'm going to use that same when I receive see a butterfly message with my butterfly sprite. So I'm going to make sure my butterfly sprite is selected. I'm going to go to events, and then I'm going to find the when I receive. I'm going to change it from hi Avery to see a butterfly. Then I'm going to go to my control blocks, and I'm going to drag out a repeat loop. And I'm going to have it repeat 5 times. And what I want it to do is I want the butterfly to glide around a little bit and change its size by getting smaller each time, so that by the time it lands on Avery's hand, it makes sense that it's smaller. So to achieve this, I'm going to go to the motion blocks. I'm going to drag out my glide 1 second to random position because I want it to glide around and look like it's flying. Then I'm going to go to my control blocks, and I want it to wait. Instead of 1 second, I'm going to do 0.5 seconds so that there's a little bit of time before it changes its size. So then I'm going to go to the looks block, and I'm going to drag out my change size by 10. But if I have it at 10, that will make it bigger. So I want to change that to -10. So as it's flying around and changing its size, after it does that 5 times, I want it to go over to Avery. So I'm going to go to my motion blocks. I'm going to drag out my go to random position and put it outside of the repeat loop. But instead of random position, I'm going to have it go to Avery because Avery has their hand out. So now I'm going to test it out. Okay, so that's not quite where I want it. I want to make the butterfly a little bit smaller, and I want to make sure that it lands on Avery's hand. So I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go to my looks block, and I'm going to have the butterfly go all the way down to size 25%. And then I'm going to drag them up where I want them to land on Avery's hand. So I want to go to my motion blocks, and I'm going to drag out my glide 1 second to XY, and then I'm going to set the size to 25. Now I'm going to test it out to see if it worked. That's perfect. Now I need them to say one more thing, and then I'm done with my project. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to broadcast the butterfly's movements and let the characters know when the butterfly has landed on Avery's hand so they can have one more conversation between the two of them. The first thing that I'm actually going to do is have it change its size by -15. I want it to be more of a dramatic change, so it's not quite such a big jump when it gets to Avery's hand. So to broadcast that the butterfly has landed, I'm going to go to the events block, and I'm going to drag out the broadcast block, and I'm going to change it to a new message. I'm going to change it to butterfly landed. That way I know that this is showing that the butterfly has landed on Avery. So I'm going to go to Abby, and I'm going to drag out a when I receive butterfly landed message. I'm going to have them say, oh my goodness, it landed on your hand. Then I'm going to go to my events block, broadcast this message. I'm going to say new message. Oh my goodness. And then I'm going to go to Avery, and I'm going to drag out when I receive the oh my goodness message. They're going to say, I know, right? Question mark, exclamation point. All right, now it's time to test it out and make sure that my code works how I want it to. right, now it's your turn. Get coding.